स्टार्ट कीजिए आप.
Okay, thank you. First of all, let me thank the Waves for giving me this opportunity to present this paper.
थोड़ा सा पीछे, सॉरी, थोड़ा सा और पीछे होना पड़ेगा, ज्यादा आगे आ गया आप.
Yeah. The topic of my paper is Vedanta and the Resurgence of Indian Life. That is actually from the perspective of Swami Vivekananda. And Swami Vivekananda delivered a series of 4 lectures in London from 10 to 18 November 1896. The title was Practical Vedanta, which signified that the theme was the practical relevance and the ethical and social applicability of the Vedantic metaphysics of non-dualism. The following quote exemplify the style and the spirit of these lectures. I am quoting him, Vivekananda here. Quote, I have been asked to say something about the practical position of the Vedanta philosophy. As I have told you, theory is very good indeed, but how are we to carry it into practice? If it be absolutely impracticable, no theory is of any value whatever, except as intellectual gymnastics. The Vedanta, therefore, as a religion, must be intensely practical. We must be able to carry it out in every part of our lives. And not only this, the fictitious of differentiation between religion and the life of the world must vanish. For the Vedanta teaches oneness, one life throughout. So in this paper, I shall discuss Vedanta and the resurgence of Indian life. Vivekananda's life and work appear to coincide with modern India rediscovering itself. For him, Vedanta was not simply a closed system of philosophical belief, but a worldview that could be transformed into active social and political praxis. Vivekananda attempted to combine the lofty idealism of Advaita Vedanta with a philosophy of social praxis. He aimed to revive the traditional Advaita Vedanta philosophy. In his interpretation of the Vedanta, he wanted to establish it as a system with a view that man is an essentially spirit. His primary aim was man-making, following the Vedantic ideology. Taking the case of Vedantic non-dualism itself, there can be no doubt that Vivekananda was seriously attracted to it as a school of philosophy. However, it was also the fact that he was a pensant for Advaita Vedanta from a radically different perspective. In the non-sectarian qualities of Advaita Vedanta, Vivekananda also claimed to have found immense humanism and extraordinary powers of accommodation. The grandest idea Vivekananda remarks in the religion of the Vedanta is that we may reach the same goals by different paths. Vivekananda's humanism was intensified and considerably strengthened by the Vedantic premise that self-realization was tantamount to the realization of God. His humanism was not merely rooted in Vedantic non-duality, but also reflected his sensitivity and close familiarity with life in India. In this paper, while engaging with the lofty idealism of practical Vedanta of Vivekananda, we will also take up certain important topics, including his views on the self-other relationship, abolition of the idea of the caste system, the problem of untouchability, etc. So let us take some of these issues actually which I have highlighted in this paper, Vedanta and the Resurgence of Indian Life from the perspective of Swami Vivekananda. First, let me talk about this, the self and the other relationship. The self and other relationship is foregrounded in lofty ideals of Vivekananda's ethics. Practical Vedanta is an attempt to make the abstract view of classical Advaita relevant for an enlightened ethics and social progress. The main argument for a practical Vedanta is to transform metaphysics of non-dualism to an experience of universal love. According to him, the infinite in us, which is the same as the infinite in others, and love is that binds them together. Loving oneself through our actions then amount to making an eternal connection with the divine. The process of loving identification is a process of accessing the underlying transcendental identity between the self and other. Vivekananda reminds us that that which you call I is the same infinite in everything else. But resources at the empirical level must be deployed to grasp this. Now, in considering the empirical or the psychological self, Vivekananda is not interested in the faculty of thought or intellect. Rather, he asks, do you feel for others? If you do not feel for others, you may be the most intellectual giant ever born, but you will be nothing. The idea seems to be that thought or the intellectual resources of the psychological self is inadequate for accessing the transcendental self, the infinite in ourselves, which is the same as infinite in others, because it works with and within subject-object distinctions. Love, on the other hand, binds. Love makes for that oneness. You become one, the mother with the child, families with the city, the whole world becomes one with the animals. Love as a process of identifying with the loved one is thus posited as a way of acknowledging our basic identity with her. The spilling over of the self onto another and the dissolution of the boundaries between our little selves is the beginning of grasping our own infinitude. So Vivekananda's crafts not only an engage spirituality in this way, but dissolve any moral pride from accompanying philanthropic activity. Worship, after all, is neither charity to the divine, nor is it helping a deity. He says that, I quote him here, I should see God in the poor, and it is for my salvation that I go and worship them. So Vivekananda, however, did not treat Vedanta simply to be a philosophy. He treated it as a religion. As a religion, it must be intensely practical. According to him, I quote him, that I shall call you religious from the day you begin to see God in man and woman, and then you will understand what is meant by turning the left cheek to the man who strikes you on the right. When you see man as God, everything, even the tiger, will be welcome. Whatever comes to you is but the Lord, the eternal, the blessed one, appearing to us in various forms as our father and mother and friend and child. They are our own soul playing with us. So we have seen that service to man is the best service to God, and through this eternal service to humanity, we are making a kind of a self and other relationship. The other is not simply an other, rather the other is intimately connected to the self, and it is that the loving force which actually combines and which binds both the self and the other, and it is this loving force that also connects the humanity to the infinite or to the divine. This is actually what Vivekananda has said. Then the another lofty idea that Vivekananda has preached, and I have also developed in the course of discussing in this paper, is his views of the caste system, particularly his views of the untouchability. And also I have touched upon emancipation of women through education, through quality education. So these two important factors that I have also highlighted. Now let me go back to the second issue, that is Vivekananda's opinion about the caste system. So Vivekananda is against the conventional view that the caste system is hereditary, and he is of the opinion that division of caste should be based on quality rather than on hereditary principle. Vivekananda's view on caste system is based on his concept of dharma. The term dharma, according to him, does not simply lie in learning our moral duties, but also performing them on proper occasions. He distinguishes two types of dharma, jati dharma and swadharma. Jati dharma is the duties of a person belong to a particular caste. Swadharma is one's own dharma, that is duties prescribed for man according to his capacity and position. It should be mentioned here that Vivekananda, by the term Jati Dharma, does not mean the view that the so-called higher caste will enjoy all the privileges according to the caste he belongs to. He, in fact, does not believe in the fact that people possess their caste just through their birth. Caste system, which is hereditary, is a severe hindrance to the society. There is no proper ground to support the hereditary caste system. According to Vivekananda, the son of a Brahmana is not necessarily always a Brahmana and enjoys all the privileges, or the son of a Shudra will always remain a Shudra and will always remain lower in status. Vivekananda rather thinks it proper to classify people into different castes, not on the basis of their birth, but on the basis of their individual qualities. That is, the qualities which one acquires as a particular person and not as a member of a particular caste or class. For he thinks that man is at birth an empty person. He subsequently possesses talents and experiences due to his intercourse into this vast world. Therefore, no one receives any capacity or talent just from one's birth. Membership in a caste is not exclusively held by birth, and a person can change his or her caste by developing appropriate qualities. Now, Vivekananda is therefore not against the variety of caste, but against the idea of the privileged caste. He is of the opinion that whenever privilege is broken down, more and more light and progress come to this. He is also of the opinion that the idea of privileged caste also brings many social evils, like the problem of untouchability in the society. Untouchability, in his opinion, is an orthodox superstition which has interfered with national efficiency all along the line. He detests the idea of recognizing any person as untouchables just because he is born in a lower caste. There should not be any discrimination on the hereditary privilege principle. I then go to the next important topic which I have taken up in this paper, and with that also I have concluded my paper. So we have discussed Vedanta and the resurgence of Indian life, highlighting some of the path-breaking ideas like the idea of the self-other relationship, abolition of the idea of the caste system, the problem of untouchability, etc. One of the central ideas is his view of women emancipation through education. Though I have not developed this paper in the body of my paper, but here I'm just highlighting a few lines about it, that Vivekananda has also given mass importance on education for women and prescribes special education for the masses. He realizes that education is essential for women for upliftment and empowerment. Through proper education, women can participate in every sphere of life and take a decision of their own. According to him, all nations have attained greatness by showing respect towards women. At the same time, he apprehends that it is only through value-oriented education that the upliftment of the masses is possible. A nation is advanced in proportion as education and intelligence spread among the masses. If we are to rise again, we shall have to do it by spreading education among the masses. So basically, in this paper, Vedanta and the Resurgence of Indian Life, I have taken up these three vital topics. One is the idea of the self-other relationship, then Vivekananda's opinion about the caste system, where I have talked about Vivekananda's opinion about the untouchability. And finally, I have also touched women emancipation through value-oriented education. So thank you so much. Namaskar.
Done?
Yes.
Okay.
I have done it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.